What up, guys? This is Cheevo Guides, back here again with another achievement guide. Today we're going to be focusing on Royal Frontier. This game is published by Ratalaika Games and it was developed by Woblyware. In terms of completion time, I'd say the average person is probably going to take about an hour and a half to get the full 1000 gamer score or platinum trophy in this game. In terms of price, it's $6.99. If you're interested in picking it up, I'll have a link down in the description below as always. Now, first and foremost, this is a turn-based role-playing game, so if you're not into turn-based games, you might want to skip this one. However, if you like games like that, this is actually going to be a pretty fun completion. So, first and foremost, before we get started, let's go ahead and check out these achievements. Now, we need to survive for 5 days, and then ultimately survive for 10 days. And then next, we need to defeat an optional boss. We need to find 5 consumables in one run. And then we have 2 achievements related to defeating enemies. We need to defeat 10 and then finally 20 enemies in one run. We need to find 3 weapons in one run. We need to deal 50 damage with the basic attack, deal 100 damage with the basic attack, use 5 scrolls in one run, deal 100 damage with the special ability, and then finally loot 1000 gold in one run. That's going to be the hardest one. I'll dive into some more details on that achievement later in the video. For now, we're going to go and start up our first game. When you first start it up, you're only going to have 3 of the 6 characters unlocked. During my playthrough for the 1000G, I only ended up unlocking 1 additional character, and honestly, that 4th character isn't really all that. So just go ahead and start off with the first 3 characters as we don't have any other choices. You're also going to be able to choose 3 power-ups when you start up the game. I recommend choosing the first 3. Just know that as you play the game and you have multiple attempts or runs, you're going to end up unlocking more power-ups, and some of them are super useful. I'm going to dive into some details on those, but first I want to explain some basics on the game. So when you start the game, you get to choose your path. I recommend paying a little bit of attention to this path because first and foremost, we want to survive 10 days. Every time you advance one of these spaces, it's a new battle. After you finish the battle, you advance to the next space. Each of these spaces or tiles represent 1 day in the game. So you basically have to survive 10 battles to survive 10 days. Well, technically, there are some spaces that you can land on that basically skip the day. For instance, if you find a treasure chest, you get to open that treasure chest and you advance to the next day. Or if you land on a shop, you'll have an option to, purchase something or not purchase, and you can go ahead and skip that day once you leave the shop. There's even special spaces for mini bosses. We actually get an achievement for defeating one of these mini bosses. That's actually how I unlocked one of the extra characters, is by defeating one of those mini bosses. Not only that, but once you defeat one of these mini bosses, it gives you hundreds of coins. So that's going to really help you get to 1000. If you're going for the 1000 coins, you want to face at least 1 mini boss in your run. However, if you're trying to focus on surviving 10 days, it might be smart to avoid the mini boss in that particular run. So the achievements and trophies don't require that we complete the game or anything like that. Only that we basically advance 10 spaces in the game, or quote-unquote 10 days. But I gotta be honest with you, more than likely you're going to need to survive a little longer than 10 days to be able to collect 1000 coins in one run. That is, unless you just get really lucky. Again, fighting one of the mini bosses helps because you gain a couple hundred coins every time you defeat a mini boss. And if you can get to the second boss, you can definitely get 1000 coins, because if you defeat 2 bosses in one run, you'll have 1000 coins easily. Next, I want to talk about the achievement for dealing 50 and then finally 100 damage with the basic attack. You can actually do this with a bomb, so just go into your inventory, and once you have acquired a black bomb, go ahead and just use that bomb on any of the enemies, and that's automatically going to deal 100 damage, and that's going to trigger both achievements, the one for dealing 50 damage with the basic attack and then 100 damage with the basic attack. You can actually kind of cheat your way by using a bomb, so that's going to unlock Heavy Hitter 1 and Heavy Hitter 2, each worth 100 gamer score. If the second achievement didn't pop, the one for 100 damage, just go ahead and use a second bomb and it should trigger it. You could also, of course, do this naturally as you upgrade your character and you activate different blessings or power-ups in the beginning of the game. You can have basically a stronger attack, and you can end up unlocking those naturally, but definitely the easiest way to do it is with the bombs. So there we go. I had to go ahead and throw a second bomb to trigger the Heavy Hitter 2 achievement. Now I have both of them, again, each worth 100 gamer score. Now we also have an achievement for dealing 50 damage with a special ability. So once you take control of this guy right here, go ahead and use his fireball attack. And what you want to do is keep mashing A until the red meter fills all the way up. As long as you fill up the meter, you're going to unlock the big numbers 1 achievement worth 100 gamer score for dealing 100 damage with your special ability. So right there we got 3 miscellaneous achievements knocked out, all of the ones for dealing damage, and that's a big chunk of the achievements considering there's only 12 achievements in total. Now, the next one I want to talk about, I touched on it briefly earlier in the video, is for defeating a mini boss or an optional boss. Basically, you want to go on a path and you want to make sure that you end up going over one of these spaces right here. I'll go ahead and highlight it for you guys. This is a optional boss because technically you don't need to face this boss. You could have picked a different path, basically making it optional. So what you want to do is make sure that you go on the path that has an optional boss. You may end up facing this boss right here. You may end up facing a different optional boss. There's different rewards for defeating different optional bosses. Personally, I faced this bear, and after defeating this bear, I ended up unlocking the 4th character. Not only that, but I ended up unlocking the achievement for defeating an optional boss, which is the Monster Hunter 1 achievement worth 100 gamer score. Aside from that, as I mentioned earlier, we have achievements related to defeating enemies in one run. Ultimately, you're going to need to defeat 10 and then finally 20 enemies in one run. Personally, in my playthrough, I actually had to get a little further than 10 days to be able to defeat 20 enemies, so just keep that in mind. Aside from that, we have achievements related to finding 5 consumable items in one run, as well as 3 weapons in one run. Basically, the way that this works is every time you defeat a group of enemies and that level ends, you're going to end up getting some rewards at the end of the battle. Sometimes, if you're lucky, one of them will be a consumable item. After this happens 5 times in one run, you'll end up unlocking the achievement for finding 5 consumable items in one run. And same thing with weapons. Sometimes at the end of a battle, one of those 3 items will end up being a weapon. So it's just RNG, kind of luck based. Technically, this could probably happen for you just within a few rounds, or technically it may take longer than 10 days to find 5 items or 3 weapons. Personally, I was able to find 5 consumable items within 10 days, but the 3 weapons I think I got on the 11th day. Alright, next I want to talk about the achievement for using 5 scrolls in one run. As you play through the game, you'll end up unlocking this blessing or power up that you can activate at the beginning of your run, and what it does is it automatically starts you off with 10 scrolls. This is really helpful in being able to get further in the game, and this is how I ended up getting my 1,000 coins, was because I had all these extra scrolls, which really help you out, facing enemies and regaining HP and things like that. Not only that, but we have an achievement related to using 5 scrolls in one run. And with this power up or blessing, you're automatically going to start off with 10 scrolls. So all you have to do is simply go into your inventory and use 5 of them, and you'll end up unlocking this achievement super easy. Just know that this is one of the main power ups or blessings that I recommend. Just know that you won't unlock it right away. Unfortunately, you're going to have to, play the game a couple runs before you're able to activate or unlock this blessing in the beginning of your run. And aside from that, guys, the last achievement I ended up having was the one for looting 1,000 gold in one run. Just like it says, you have to do it in one run. And not only that, but I think you need to actively have 1,000 coins in your bank. So just make sure that you're not spending any of your coins while you're playing. You want to just save those up and continue to collect them. My number 1 tip for collecting more coins is to face one of the optional bosses, because they offer a lot of coins after you defeat them. 2 bosses in one run will definitely net you 1,000 coins. So if you can get that far, you can get that achievement easily. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this video off with some footage of my final run, the run where I ended up getting 1,000 coins, just in case you're interested in watching how I played the game. Maybe you'll find some tips and tricks in this playthrough that maybe I, didn't get a chance to mention or not. But really, I think I covered a lot of the stuff you need to know in terms of getting the 1,000 gamer score or platinum trophy yourself. But before I go and I let this footage roll, I'm going to show you how I set up my game for 1,000 coins. As I mentioned earlier, I had to unlock the 4th character. These are the 3 characters that I chose. And at this point, I had a bunch of blessings unlocked. I used the one for 10 scrolls. I also used the one for 50% extra damage. And then I use this one right here, where it increases the gold dropped by enemies by 40%. just know that there's this one that starts you off with 500 coins in your inventory. This does not work for the achievement. You actually need to collect 1,000 new coins in your run. So just know that that blessing for starting off with 500 coins is not going to help cheat your way to the 1,000 coins in one run. But the one for having enemies drop 40% extra coins does help. So make sure that you use that one. Aside from that, guys, I'm showing you guys the footage for my full run all the way to 1,000 coins. Maybe you can find some valuable information in this. If not, you made it this far in this video, so you are well prepared to go for your 1,000 gamer score or platinum trophy. I'm going to go ahead and end the commentary right here as no more commentary is needed. But as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe. And there we go. It took all the way until the 16th day for me to get the 1000 coins. I got it after defeating the second boss, and we officially have the full 1000G out of the full 1000G. As always, I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. We just hit 16 patrons. I'd like to give a special shout out to everybody in the biggest fan club, including TimG84, AOJ, Kegger101, Kana25, Michael Benksa, Curse Souls, and GamerTagNation.com. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, and don't forget to like and subscribe.